guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, got an email from a subscriber. This guy's writing in because he wants to help out a coworker of his. Coworker that he's friendly with who's definitely got himself into some hot water. What hot water, you may ask? Well, as it turns out, this coworker is just like so many guys you hear in these stories. Completely clueless when it comes to the reality of dealing with women. And to no surprise, is in a very bad situation, being taken advantage of. And so he's writing in asking, what can he do? What can he say to help him out? Should he recommend my channel? Should he make him aware of how he's being used big time, that type of thing? Or just let it go? Let the guy fall on his face and learn the hard way. That'd be a good one to go over here, guys. It's a refresher because I do cover this subject pretty often. How you got to try to do what you can to help out guys that you care about. Whether it's your friend, your brother, coworker, nephew, neighbor, whatever. I'm sure every one of you guys knows at least one guy that is just walking into a disaster, but is completely clueless, and some don't even want to hear it. So I'm going to go through his little story here, and you will hear the extent to how much of a hole this guy's dug himself into with this gal here. And hopefully we can maybe help out another guy. It says, Dear SSM, I've been working with, let's call him Daryl, for a couple of years now. He's a very quiet dude, so it took a while to get to him to open up and start talking to us. I was surprised to find out that he had a stutter after a few months because he spoke so little. I think some of the guys were intimidated by him and avoided him. Unfortunately, he's not tough at all. For a while, he had me fooled, because anytime I talked about women with one of the guys and he was around, he would laugh or give a knowing smile and say things like, exactly, at just the right times. But it was a front. The guy is clueless when it comes to women. So you can have guys that may have knowledge, like what I talk about in these channels, but that knowledge goes right out the door when a pretty girl pays attention to them. So he starts telling us about his girl, and it just keeps getting worse. Apparently they were together for a couple years until she cheated on him with some other dude and got pregnant. She told him it was the other guy's kid and moved him in. Okay, that can happen to any guy, unfortunately, and any guy that has knowledge would kick her to the curb, never look back, block her forever, and move on, and learn something from the situation. Well, not Daryl. Recently, she reached out to Daryl and said she wants to try again. And what happened to the other guy, you ask? Well, apparently he's a bum and he's no good, and she kicked him out. Translation, she cheated because she's a lowlife. And the Chad and Tyrone that she got pregnant with, he obviously, guess what, can't play house. He's not going to be a good provider. She now has a baby. So who's a good provider? Oh, old Daryl. He has a stable job. He kisses the ground I walk on it. I'll go back to him. Or maybe I'll keep the baby daddy on the side for fun and excitement and go back to Daryl. I know this one is super obvious, but what do you tell a guy who has no clue? If I wanted to introduce him to your videos, where would I begin? I showed your videos to one of the other guys at work, let's call him Billy, and he warned me to leave it alone. He said, unfortunately, this is the kind of stuff guys have to learn the hard way. The more you warn him, the more he'll dig his heels in. Well, shout out to Billy, and your coworker is very right about that. By and large, most guys do have to learn the hard way because we're so pig-headed and stubborn and our pride and our egos. Why do you think I smack guys all the time when they do dumbass shit? Because you have to smack sense into guys. You have to be very blunt, there are people that don't like how I approach these stories because they think I'm too blunt or I'm mean or something like that. I understand how guys operate. You have to be blunt with them. It's just how it is. And the more you try to help them, they dig their heels in. But we hope maybe Daryl could be different. Recently, Daryl let on that he's saving for her ring. And it gets worse. Since last week, he's been referring to her as the wife. Smack to Daryl. I should have smacked him many times earlier, but you're telling a story about Daryl, not about you. But anyhow, Daryl deserves a lot of smacks. Fuck, you should smack him. Although you get fired and charged for assault, so scratch that idea. So Billy and I have been going back and forth for this for a while. For context, we both are what you call relationship guys, but we both know what it takes in this day and age, like the value of DNA tests. What advice would you give about introducing your content to clueless guys? Which videos should I send them first? If you read this out loud with some advice, I'll send it to him and follow with more details. Thank you, SSM. Well, you're a good guy for trying to help out your coworker here. It doesn't sound like you're best friends with them, but we've all had jobs where you have somebody in the job you don't hang out with, but you enjoy talking to them. They're good people. So I'm going to go back to your buddy, what I think he said Billy, that's his code name, said. He's clueless, and he's going to dig his heels in, and he has to learn the hard way. Sadly, in life, you usually have to learn the hard way. But it's better a wiser man learns from other people's mistakes. And that's why I do these stories. But anyhow, what I'd recommend is that you at least give it a shot. I would approach Daryl in the most friendly manner, that you're not being too judging him or judging too harshly. Because the second he senses that, the likelihood is, I'm just going with the likelihood is, the big wall of defense will go up and F you, and he's digging his heels in, as Billy said. I'd approach him at the situation and say, listen, I know you've been telling me about your situation with your girl, blah, 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 and I don't want to see you make a mistake that I know a lot of guys have made before. And say what you got to say, and pick and choose your words carefully, because you want to help him out. I'm not about coddling guys. I'm not about there-thering, but for the greater good here, if you have to start off in a friendly, semi-coddling approaching manner, then go ahead. And then tell him about my channel. Tell him about this guy that's been on YouTube for a few years. He shares personal stories from dudes all over the world. And tell Daryl his situation sounds a lot like them. And they always end in catastrophe for the guy. That's what I would tell him. And you should check him out, because I don't want to see it happen to you, because given what you're telling me here, the odds are it's going to end in a disaster. Hence, as example, taking back a cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Taking back a girl who's only back with you because it didn't work out with the guy she really wanted. Make him understand that once a cheater, always a cheater. She will do it again. She's only back with you because it didn't work out with the other guy, at least now. And you take her back, she's going to think she's got a free pass to cheat again, because you'll take her back. Women don't respect weakness. And you take back a cheater, that is weakness. These are things you need to explain to him and make him fully understand. And before he says the classic line that all guys say in these situations, and you all can probably guess what the classic line is, my girl's different, or she's different. You don't know her. That type of shit. We'll remind him that guys have said this since we all crawled out of the caves and talked about we were all cavemen. My cave lady's different. No, she's not. So I would explain that. And then in terms of videos, what I would suggest is just go into YouTube, because you're obviously on YouTube watching me now. Type in strong, successful male and enter in various scenarios of what you think would be good videos to show him. Various topics about cheaters and things like that. And I'm sure YouTube will recommend videos related to what you talked about here. And then you can then send them to him, But make sure they're good ones, but the likelihood is he's going to see me and say, why would I take the advice of some guy on YouTube, let alone some douchebag in the car wearing sunglasses talking like he's the fucking king? It's likely he's not going to like me very much. I have that effect on people. But you can try. And then after you try and say your piece, then I'd back away and let him do what he does. And if he rejects completely in your face, saying, F you, motherfucker, I don't need any help, I know what I'm doing, she's different, or maybe he watches me but says, that jackass in the car doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay. You did your part. You tried to help. And you move on and let him fall on his face, because he will fall on his face, and she will do exactly what so many gals do in these stories, just like how they do it all around the world. And he'll unfortunately learn the hard way. I don't want that to happen to him. You don't want that to happen to him. But I think your coworker Billy has it right on the money. I am by nature I'm optimistic. I'm an optimistic guy in terms of what we can accomplish when we put the effort in, But I'm a pessimistic guy when it comes to human beings and people. You can't blame me, given what I've learned in my almost 47 years on this planet and the thousands of videos I covered. So the odds are he's not going to like it, and she's going to be just like the rest and all that. And if that happens, let him know you're his friend. And then if he falls on his face and she's cheating on him and he marries her and she takes him to the cleaners, well, when eventually he's telling you those stories, say, bro, Remember that guy I told you about? Well, he has videos based on that situation, how to get out of this mess and divorce and all that, and maybe then he'll, before it's even worse and he's married to her too long and takes too much of a hit, then he'll learn. I don't want it to come to that, but it might. The point is, brother, you're a good guy for trying to help him out. Do your part. Say what you got to say. Send him my info and move on. And if he comes to you saying, hey, that guy actually knows what he's talking about, or he's actually pretty funny, then show him more videos. Talk about me. And maybe he can get out of this situation before he actually marries her. Because once he marries her, at that point then, and God forbid, he is recognized by the state as a provider or some kind of connection to that baby, oh boy, he's on the hook for a lot of money, a lot of shit, a lot of problems. I don't want that to happen to him. So do your part, recommend me, and hopefully we can save another guy. But if not, that's on him. End of freaking story. And by the way, you guys may all wonder why guys why guys get themselves in these situations. Well, usually it's because they have next to no self-esteem. They grew up in a family that they didn't get the love from mom and dad, so already they don't have the self-esteem. They weren't successful with girls paying attention to them. They got the low self-esteem. So they take any gal that will pay attention to them. And these girls know this. Okay, this is why I work so hard to encourage guys to get past, as hard as it is, their childhood issues. They didn't get a lot of love from mom and dad growing up, a family with fighting and drama and all that. It's hard. But do your best to see yourself as someone of value. Make something yourself in this world. Because when you value yourself and you're on the path of improvement, making something of yourself, you're not going to tolerate people that treat you like garbage, like that guy's girlfriend who cheated on him and got pregnant with Chad and Tyrone's baby. That you wouldn't get yourself in that situation. Certainly not twice. And also, guys getting themselves in this situation because we're pig-headed. We don't want to ask for help. We don't want to admit we're going wrong, so it's easy just to fail, It's amazing. But, again, we do what we do. And it's like this, guys. I'm barely making a dent in the grand scheme of things of the 8 billion people on this planet. But those either watch me and hear these stories and learn from other people's mistakes to prove your lies, I can feel good helping guys out in that way. And hopefully you watch my stories, watch my videos and hear these stories. You learn something, it helps you out, and then you can then use that knowledge to help out a couple guys. And hopefully they take that knowledge, help out a couple guys, and it spreads slowly over time. But still, in the grand scheme of things, they'll probably barely move the needle. But I'm doing my part, you do your part, and hopefully we can save the Daryls out there. If not, probably Daryl will be back one day. So guys, there you go. So for the guy writing in the story, that's what I think you should do. And all you guys that might be wondering that about your friend, your coworker, your brother, your cousin, your nephew, whatever, that's how I think is best to handle it. End of story. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Guys, if you have a friend or cousin or brother-in-law or nephew or whatever that you've helped out in a situation like this, or you've recommended my channel and some listened to it and helped them out, or they told you to go F yourself, or that guy in the car is a douchebag, share in the comments section. Share how you made things work, how it didn't work. Let this guy know because he's going to read them, and hopefully we can help him out. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.